Welcome to step 2. We're going to make the switch assembly. A couple of things to look at is this piece and this piece are actually the same piece. I realized it says 1, 2, and 3. Those are actually the parts M1, M2, and M3. So be aware of that. The other one is these screws go through here, and in there. Now these screws, these 2x6mm screws are unique. Don't worry about this clipping stuff. That's what our flush cutters were for. In this unruly bag here, you'll find a bunch of clear things. That's the part you need. All three of those parts are actually all those three parts in there. And then, of course, this bag that you've already emptied into your tray is what you're looking for. The tools you'll need for step 2, you'll need the Phillips head screwdriver that's in your packet, and then as well as your flush cutters to make sure that you can trim out the plastic parts. This is very important that we use the spring side with the flush side towards what we want to keep. So if I want to keep this, I just simply clip this way. You can see I have collected my parts. We have switch terminal A, 2 of those, 2 of switch terminal B, 2 of switch terminal C. These are all going to be important in making this switch work. Of course, the 2mm screws and the nuts, parts 1, 2, and 3. See that I haven't quite clipped that as well as I should have. So let's go ahead and we'll take the flat side and we see the part here. And there we go, much better. On step 2, it is really important you only use the screws that are in this bag because they are the only ones that are designed to go into this nut. Now, there are several, 13 actually, that are called 2x6mm tapping screws. So they are not designed to go into this nut. An easy way to tell, one, is the color you can see on the left is the one I want, as well as when you look at the top, you'll be able to notice that in this hand here, it has a flat head and a Phillips head. If you mess them up early, you'll think, I'm okay. But the problem is this screw is not designed to cut into plastic, and it'll be really hard to secure some of those things that this screw was designed to do. A lot of technicians make that mistake, so here's something to avoid. You can see on the top left side, we can see these rails right here and here. You can probably find that there. If you flip this part over, I like to call these the posts. Those are important to look at as well. So let's go ahead and begin assembling. I'm going to take this first part. I'm going to slide it into this hole. Okay. And I want to make sure I just push it nice and gently in. It may be tough to do. I always like to push, or I'll do this other one and I'll show you a little different angle on this. I always like to kind of push that way. So towards the hole and down just a little bit. Okay. And that tends to line that up nicely. I want to make sure that these are outside and not covering this hole right here. So now I'm going to put in terminals. So I'm putting in these second terminals. I can see from this side, it looks great. From this side with the posts, it looks great as well. So now that part is done. I can set that back into my tray and proceed. What I like to look at with the lever is you can see right here in the lever that there's a bump. I always make sure that that's up. I like to place this part just flat down on the ground. Place it like that. Okay, so this is going to slide back and forth. Nice clicking noise. That's great. Sometimes people will put this in backwards because they want to trap these terminal C's. But you don't want to do that. So, because they need to touch the other terminals that are on top. So, the next step is we slide those in there like that. So, sometimes these turn this way. So, you want to make sure that those are facing inward like that. I like to put this top on. We want to make sure the posts here are on the opposite side of this lever. If you turn it the other way, it will probably not make contact and could make your robot not start walking. Sometimes you have a challenge with these to line up. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, great. So that's all lined up. Now, I'm not quite done yet because you'll see on the bottom that there's a hexagonal hole. So 2 ways I like to do this. I like to do one at a time. I like to put that nut in there, okay? And then here's the tricky part. I hold it with my finger and I flip it over so that the nut doesn't fall out. Take this screw, put it all the way through the hole, and holding that nut, I then take the screw and I engage the head and turn it clockwise. So some people like to say righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, and that gets nice and firm, so it looks good. Another technique is to put the nut on the ground, kind of rotate it around, and trap it. This way you're on a nice stable platform. Then we grab the screw. Oh, another thing that's kind of cool about this, the screw's metal and the screwdriver is magnetic, so that can help out sometimes when placing these screws in. So if that works for you, great. And then you can see that I am, once again, pushing down. I'm using, it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to turn this way. We want to make sure that it's nice and perpendicular. We don't want to be this way or anything like that. We want nice and perpendicular when we push down and screw. Okay. Excellent. Let's do a functions check. So we've got it down here like this. We turn it this way, works great. Turn it next way, it works great. The lever moves freely in both left and right to the two on positions. And I can see that the copper pieces are facing inwards like parentheses on a sentence. Okay, I thought I would show one common mistake is when I lay this down, you can see that the bump on the lever is down, and as well as the copper contacts are down. So that means that they cannot touch these copper contacts, and that's how the electricity flows from the battery to the motor. So if this is down and this is on like this, then that's going to be a problem. Okay. The other thing is with these rails, they're designed to assemble in only one direction. If you put these posts in the same direction as this, they're going to stand up tall and right here, and you're not going to be able to make contact. I don't know if you can see that area right here, and you're going to try to screw it down as hard as you can, but it's designed to go the other way. So those are some common things, as well as we talked earlier about using the incorrect screw. Here are a couple more errors. One is that the connection isn't even on the lever. The other one is that the lever is facing the wrong direction, and when this starts to pivot, like our function check showed, then this is going to catch up on stuff. So we need to make sure that those are in the correct way. Another error is that they have left the nut out. And so they're screwing and screwing and screwing this in, and it's just not getting any tighter. Well, that's because this nut and the screw actually clamp the top and bottom together. So you can see that you need to make sure that you've got this, not this.